Hey you guys, it's Lisa Pennington at thepenningtonpoint.com, and I wanted to talk to you today about some things you can do with your phone case. I travel a lot and I do a lot of things where I won't be able to plug my phone in for very long. So I have this phone case that has a battery charger in it. It's fantastic. I can literally probably go 24 hours, even if I'm on social media a lot and stuff. And so I wanted to decorate the back of my phone case. I like things that look cute. And so today I have this on here that says the Pennington Point. I made it with my Cricut, but also sometimes I will change them. Actually, I change them a lot. I have this other one just ready to go, another little summer one with fireworks on it. And I just wanted to talk to you about some tips on making these. While I'm talking to you, I am diffusing these two oils. I always love telling you what I'm diffusing because I feel like it gets you in my space and you can see where I'm getting my inspiration from. This is Northern Lights Black Spruce. Amazing with orange. It's one of my favorite oil diffusing combos. It's cheerful, it's grounding, it's strengthening, it makes me feel inspired and excited, and so I love diffusing this while I'm working on my projects. So these are I just call them phone case stickers, and I want to show you some tips on making these because it's pretty hard to work with tiny little pieces, especially on something you're going to be touching and messing with a lot. I've had this one on here for about a week and a half and it still looks new. And so I want to give you some tips for, I have 10, maybe 11 tips for you. I'm going to show you first some other ones that I've made. So what I will do when I feel like creating something, but I only have like a little short time to work, I can come and make some phone case stickers. Like I have this one made and ready to go. I have a bunch more. When I first started making them, I didn't mount them on a background piece, and I've learned that that really helps it stay on. I use permanent adhesive vinyl. Do not use temporary vinyl or repositionable vinyl, also called 631. You don't want to use that. You want to use 651 because it's permanent and it stays so much better. Trust me, I've messed around with a lot of it. So the other thing I really like to do is back it all with a base piece. So this has a blue piece on the background. This has a blue piece on the background, or teal, what you would call. In the beginning, I would make some like this. This isn't one from early on. Super cute, but the little pieces of it, same. Mickey Mouse, love him. But again, they don't stick as well because they don't have that background square piece. And so, plus when you're designing it in the design studio, if you will measure your phone and the area that you want to cover, like for me, I'm probably covering a smaller area than maybe you will, because you might want to cover your entire case. I did find that trying to go over the bend doesn't stick as well, so I just stick to this area. When you make a piece and you start with your rectangle background, it's super easy then just to know that the sizes are going to work for you. So now I always have a square background on mine. These are some that I've made. I've already used this one. I've got this one if I want to talk about oils, and I'm going to show you a tip on this in a little bit. These are all just some that I have ready to stick on my phone whatever I'm in the mood for. Look, however, which way I want to go. So I want to just show you some tips. And I'm going to work on this one today for you guys because this one is one of the more challenging designs. I've made this 2 or 3 times and used it. I've made it for friends. It's super cute, but it's really detailed. I used the yellow is just a background square that I added. And then this Mike and Sully design is just a design in the Cricut design space. I didn't do anything to it. I added the little voice bubble with the words on it, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And I'm just we're not going to work in the Cricut design space, but I'm going to show you how to work with it. Okay, so we're going to I've got another one ready to show you, and I'm going to give you all my tips. First of all, this has a bunch of colors in it, right? The doorknob and the white and his eyes and his nose, his purple dots, those are all separate pieces of vinyl. So what I will do is I will go in the Cricut Design Studio. When I have it, like here is the same design, right? Once I click make it, oops, it's too big. I have it real big to show y'all. Let's just make it smaller so I can show you. Once it sends it in there, it shows you, if you guys can see this, You can scroll through every single color, or you can see them here on the side, depending on the way your design studio is laid out. And I will go through my vinyl and I will stack it up beforehand. Light pink, light blue, whatever this is, brown, teal, this is the Sully color, and I will make a stack of vinyl to work with. That makes it easier for me later on when I'm going through and I'm cutting it. I have all my vinyl laid out. You know, it's hard to see in the design space. So I will have these all laid out. So that's my first tip, is lay out all your vinyl. When you're getting out your vinyl, I keep a bucket of scraps. Like if I'm making something, like this would have been from another project, I will keep a bucket of vinyl pieces. If they're more than about an inch square, I will keep them. And then I can use some of those so I don't have to cut out of a whole piece of vinyl. I don't need a whole piece of vinyl for these tiny little nails or claws or whatever. So, or his little eye. I could pull something out of here. That's tip number 2, is it can almost be free if you use your scraps. Another thing I keep is a big stack of scrap paper. These are just scrap paper pieces of cardstock that came off of another project or something. And I will use these later on. I'm going to show you how. I always have a stack of scrap paper next to my workspace. Sometimes I want to keep notes, like if I want to remember which font this was, or if I want to remember a size. It's really great to have a stack of scrap paper to write notes on, and also to work with when you're weeding. That's my next tip. Okay, so once you have this ready, I have this ready. I have cut this all out. You can see I've got the background piece. I've already got this guy started here. Okay, we're making this. Let's put this over here so we can remember. And we don't need this for the moment. And I've got all these pieces, and I've got most of them weeded. The other tip that I wanted to tell you is to do all of your weeding first. So weeding is when you take the negative space away. So like this was a whole piece of purple, just solid purple, and I pulled away the pieces that I don't need. And this is just, this will be his spots. I'm going to show you a weeding tip. This is his little hand here, and I'm going to just show you real quick. You want a weeding tool. There are different ones. This is the Cricut weeding tool. And what I will do to weed it is I will, okay, so if you can see, this has a little claw on it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dig the weeding tool right next to the claw and pull it out away from the claw, because the weeding tool will, see how it will mess up your vinyl. So you don't want to touch it to the pattern that you're keeping. I will pull away and dig up under like this. You can see what I've done. And then I can just easily pull off the part that I don't want. And here's why you want your scrap of paper. I love to use a scrap of my paper. Here's a scrap paper to stick these on, so I don't have to mess with them as I'm weeding, and it will end up just completely stuck with little scraps of vinyl. I'm going to do the same thing with Mike Wazowski here. I left him because I wanted to show you he has little tiny pieces. I'm going to try to get that out. I'm going to pull it away like I just showed you and pull it up. And it's possible that some of it will not come up because this permanent vinyl is so adhesive and so sticky that, see his little hand? There should be a piece there. Didn't want to come up, so I'm going to have to mess with it. I'm going to have to push it down with the weeding tool and try to hold it in place, because you want it to stay in that exact spot. And if it moves a little, there is an outline from the Cricut of where it was. So we're just going to pull this off very carefully. We don't want to move him off of this Okay, so I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to stick it on my scrap paper. That's why we use the scrap paper. It really gives us something to do with all those little pieces. I'm going to lay his little hand back down. And now he is in the same spot. He has some other pieces that have to be weeded out too. His giant eyeball also. So what I do is I stick the weeding tool under him. I put my finger on top of it to lift it up, and then I just stick it onto my scrap paper. This is so much easier than trying to throw away every little scrap, because they're super sticky. I'm going to get his mouth out, and then we are done. Again, put the weeding tool under, pull it up gently, and there's his mouth. Let's stick that on there. This will literally be my old one from weeding, the rest of this is literally covered in scraps. And then see, I can just throw this away. So it's perfect. Okay. Another tip that I have for you is, look, let me just tell you, some of them come out like this. I mean, this is actually claws and fingernails. They are in the place that they need to be on your design. Same with his spots. His spots are already in the places that they need to go. So you don't want to move them around on your little sticker back paper, sticky, you know, whatever the paper is that you put stickers on. So, keep them like that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to use, this is my next tip, you're going to weed everything. So now I have everything weeded. You're going to use clear transfer paper. This is just a piece that I've been using for the whole project. Cricut makes it. Other companies make it, I'm sure. There's lots of kinds of transfer paper. I like all of it for different projects, but for this, it has to be clear. I love the clear transfer paper. Sometimes it is super sticky, so I will take it off and I will stick it on my shirt or something to make it less sticky, and then start using it for my project. I can use one piece like this for this entire project. I use this piece to make this whole thing, and I will be able to continue to use it. I've got a smaller piece going kind of right here, if you can see. So you don't have to have a piece for every single thing. You can just have one piece to work on one project. And so then the way we do this, and the reason we're going to leave these on here, for some reason, is that Cricut cuts them out in the layout they're supposed to be. Like I said, his little spots, like this. If you can see, here's Mike Wazowski, okay, and his little eyes. I don't know if you guys can see that, and his teeth are all in the exact spot where they need to lay. So when I take this off, I can put it right on there. We're going to go ahead and put Mike Wazowski down so I can show you how easy this is. Let me show you quickly. Here is another tip. You want to work on top of a Cricut mat that has its cover on it. This is the clear plastic cover on my Cricut mat. For one thing, the measuring guidelines are very helpful, but for another, this clear transfer paper just will not stick to the mat cover, and so it makes it super easy. You can stick it on here, and see, I'm not worried about it sticking to the mat cover. Now I'm going to stick them on Mike, and I'm going to use my scraping tool to make sure he's stuck to the transfer tape, and then I will pull him off, and now we have Mike ready to transfer. He's on the transfer tape. There are guides, little marked guides on here, and so I'm going to put him down, and you can see this is in two pieces. We've got Mike and his arms and things, and we've got a little hand that is separated, but because I lifted it all at the same time, I can get him, let's see here, I can get him right where I want him to go. All right, and then again, I'm going to rub that down and then peel that off. And look, he has been moved to the right place, including his little hand. What does happen sometimes is it pulls the whole bottom piece up off the base, because this isn't made to be sticky. So I just lift it up and let it lay back down so we don't have any bubbles in it or raised places. That, I'm just going to show you one more time. There's Mike. We have his eyes and his teeth already stuck to a piece of transfer paper. Whoops. See, it didn't really stick, so I'm going to rub it down. And I had that on there yesterday. Isn't that funny? It was all ready to go. This doesn't want to come off. Okay, so what started to happen is the little bottom part of his mouth didn't come off with it. I really need them all. This transfer paper is probably close to the end of its use. Okay, so we have, here's the thing I wanted to show you too. This was on here, if you can see the original, all the white cut out together. So Mike's eyeball and his teeth and Sully's eyes and his teeth all cut out on the same piece of white. And so I just snipped it apart and transferred them separately. Like I've already put Sully's eyes and teeth on there. I just cut that off, this small piece of transfer paper, only lifted that, put it down on Sully, and now I'm only going to lift Mike's eye, and it even has the little sparkle to the eyeball, and I'm going to put them down. Okay, look how cute that is. I'm going to rub that a little bit, make sure it sticks real well, and then pull the transfer paper off. And the cool thing is, you don't have to sit and try to place every line, every tooth, every circle in the right spot. You can literally just transfer the whole thing just for fun because I'm compulsive. I'm going to put his little eye on there, his little blue eye. I just lifted it off of one. I'm sticking it onto the other. And you can see, look how quickly it comes together. And I would do the same thing. And look, I can put this on here, the transfer tape on the Cricut mat, and it doesn't stick at all. So it makes a great surface to work on. I would finish the whole thing until I got to this. I do want to show you one other thing on working with letters. A lot of my my stickers, my phone stickers have letters on them. This one, they have a lot of letters on them. I used to do the letters where I would cut the letters out and then I would take the transfer tape and I would stick it on there. But what happens is after a while, your letters start to peel off. Even a good chunky letter like this is very delicate. And so these are all reverse letters. So this is actually not the letters. This is a whole piece of white with the letters cut out, and I weeded the letters out. Same thing here. This is a piece of gray. There's blue underneath, and so you're not actually seeing blue letters stuck on. You're seeing cutouts, and the blue show up from behind. I did the same thing with this. On here, I wrote boo, and then I just decided for fun to try something else. So I changed it to got oils, and if you can see, that is cut out. The negative, I've pulled the letters out, and I'm just left with the white that has the letters stuck in it. And then I will take my little transfer tape, and I will put that over the black. And what it will look like black letters, this transfer tape's about had it. I've used it so many times. It will look like black. The little O is not wanting to come. You have to play with it a little bit. No big deal. So you can see now, here it is. The Got Oils is clear. I'm going to stick that on the black. All right. And this is just a voice bubble in Cricut Design Studio that already had a background. And I just made it whatever color I wanted. And now it looks like I have black letters on there, but I actually don't have any letters on there. It's just the empty open space. And now I don't have to worry about those little dots coming off, or the little tiny skinny letters tend to come off. Sure, there's a middle here and a middle here that are maybe slightly delicate, but it's a lot less than if I had all the letters on there. And then I'll be able, once I finish, I will build this whole thing first, and then I will attach it to the yellow background, and then I will stick this on there. Okay. So use I guess they call it the reverse cutout for the words. So that is another tip I wanted to tell you if you're working with really small phone case covers. Okay, my orange is moving. So these are all my pieces. I'm going to finish building that, but I wanted to just show you a few more tips. As you're building it, sometimes you're like, especially with something with this many pieces, sometimes you're like, what goes on first? How do I know how to stack it? Your Cricut Design Studio is great for that. I'm just going to show you here what I will do. I will go into my Cricut Design Studio. Let's move our beautiful oils. And there's a little gray circle at the bottom that has 2 arrows going round and round. You can pull on that and it will show you each layer. And I will typically layer it in the order that those go. So this has the door first, and then knob and sully and so on. So that is how I decide what order to layer it in. Another tip I want to tell you is do not worry about not being perfect. Like you can see that I just put Mike Wazowski on. He's not exactly lined up with the little lines that are on there for him. I didn't worry about that. Same with Sully. You can see the lines where he was probably supposed to go. I think this was supposed to be over a little. I really don't worry about it. You can see on this, it's super cute. But if you want to pull it apart, you can see that his leg is not lined up with the door, and Mike is overlapping Sully when he's not supposed to be, and his teeth are not in the right place. I mean, it's really not perfect, but no one can tell a thing. In fact, it was so hard to weed out these little teeny tiny nails or claws of Mike Wazowski's that I didn't even try. I just let them go. You cannot tell they're not there. It looks fantastic, so you do not need to worry if things are not spaced exactly perfect. I'm telling you, it still looks darling. Okay, now once I got all this done, I will go over it, the whole thing, with just an inexpensive from the drugstore, cheap clear nail polish. So before you take it off and put it on your phone, leave it on your background sticker paper and paint the whole thing with one very heavy layer of nail polish. I prefer one heavy layer over several thin layers, and here's the reason why. Several thin layers will leave a lot of lines, and it becomes less and less flexible with each layer that you put on there. That's great for your nail polish. You want your nail polish to be nice and hard, but for this you need it to be a little flexible, and so one heavy layer works better. So once you paint that on, you're going to end up, we'll see if I can show you, along the edges there will be, I don't know if you can see, but there's a little bit of nail polish kind of up here. I will typically just fold that under. I will fold it under. You could probably trim it off, but folding it under works just fine. And then you're ready to stick it on your phone. The last thing I wanted to show you, just as an alternative, if you're looking at this like, girl, I do not want to mess with little tiny pieces like this. Another thing you can do is you can literally print it out. This is a sample. I took this design, this exact design that I made on with the yellow background and everything that I made on my, I'll show you this one, that I made on my Cricut Design Space with individual cutouts. I changed the words just because I felt like it, and I printed it. You can tell your stuff to print. And I printed it onto, I'll show you, it's printable vinyl. It comes in a package like this. I can't show you the whole package, I can't get it on there, but it's made by Cricut and it's called Printable Vinyl. I know you can also get it Expressions Vinyl, which is where I get most of my vinyl. I really like them. I'll leave you a link in the comments. One thing you want to be careful of, because the printable vinyl is not permanent, then I shrunk it down a tiny bit and stuck it on top of a piece of permanent vinyl. You really want the permanent vinyl for sure to be what's touching your phone case, no matter what it's made out of. But this particularly is rubbery, and it's not something that things are going to stick to easily. So you need the permanent vinyl. But anything that you're touching all the time, you want to try to use permanent vinyl. So I stuck it onto a piece of permanent vinyl, but I just want to show you the difference. Now I don't have to nail polish it. I don't have to worry about anything coming off. And I could make the letters really small because they were just printing out, and so I didn't have to worry about how tiny they were. However, I don't think it's as cute. It looks like a cartoon out of a book. If that's what you're going for, just so you can see the difference, these are exactly the same, but the colors are not quite as pop. They don't pop as well on here. Of course, this is the colors of vinyl that I had, so I guess it depends on what you have. I love the crispness, but I also don't think it's as, it's just different. I will use it as I already have it printed out and ready, but I think I really like this one better. It feels more like I really went to a lot of effort to make it. But I think if you want to do like more of a cartoon or some sort of manga thing or something, I think that would be really cute to print it out. I don't know what Cricut has it's manga, but these are your options. So I wanted to show you, those are all my tips. That's at least 10 tips for making phone case covers and how to layer really, really tiny projects. So I hope you guys have fun. Oh, I was going to show you this one last thing. I just remembered. This is just one sheet Pray Hustle Apply oils, and then I wanted this little burst at the top, but I didn't want to cut it down in the design space because I didn't want to have to line it up. So what I did was, it was a whole burst, and then I stuck it on where I wanted, and now I can peel this off backwards. Now let's see if I can get my scissors. I can cut it off. You can see, I can see the edge. I'm going to cut it off from behind. And now it's exactly lined up where I want it. I can stick this little extra piece that I popped off over on my scrap paper. And so that's how I would cut off something that I wanted to line off the edge. Instead of cutting it off in the design studio, I typically like to do it like that because then I don't have to line it up and it's perfect. So anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that, how to make some super cute things for your phone case. So don't hesitate to make them. The other cool thing is you can make this whatever is your personality, not my personality. Make whatever it is you want and enjoy it. Don't be afraid of tiny things, although you can see I tend to stay away from those. This just has a couple of tiny pieces. This has almost no tiny pieces. Same. So play with it, have fun, order a bunch of vinyl, get yourself ask a friend who maybe works with it if you can have her scraps and do some really cute things for your phone case. Be sure and check out all my other YouTube videos where I talk about how to use the Cricut, how to use your oils, how to use them together, how to support your team. I would consider these a marketing tool. People can see my phone and see the name of my blog. Sometimes I just put thepenningtonpoint.com, but unfortunately my blog name is really long. So that I will do this, and it sparks conversation. People know I love Disney. I get to talk to them about my website that talks about Disney. So all the way around, it's a great marketing tool to use your phone as promoting whatever it is your business is. So anyway, check out my blog, The Pennington Point, and my other channels, and I hope to see you guys soon. Have a great day.